Carlton also summons an axe made of his authority to apprehend the culprit. He even says that any further resistance is futile. Though Janya is not giving up, he dashes forward and strikes Carlton with his sword. Their clash makes a sound wave going around the bar, though Janya's sword cracks as it meets the axe of light. So he jumps up with all of his strength to try again attacking Carlton. In the end, Carlton uses the chain of light again, and this time he easily takes Janya down. A moment later, with the axe on Janya's neck as he surrenders himself, Janya also expresses on how he heard that Carlton is indeed as naive as he is righteous. With that, Janya throws a poison gas bomb in the bar. As they manage to get outside, he says how he didn't think he would use the black cloud in there, yet with his men in tow, they try to run away. Suddenly, the clan elder called Xiaoring comes, asking whether that the Witch of Massacre is that strong that makes Janya had to use the black cloud. That's when Janya reveals that the silver restraint has been used, and at this moment, Jiwon, Mino and Carlton is inside. When a moment later, Xiaoring sees that Jiwon drags Mino out from the bar, and he asks the information on Jiwon as he also notices them on the three, and uses his slight stab on them. Janya informs him that he also curious about Jiwon. The fact that Jiwon is also fine after being hit with the black cloud startles them, and they had never heard of an emerald bug with no antenna. As Jiwon sits Mino down, he looks at the group of 4 from the Forbidden Heaven clan, and how he thinks that it was annoying for him to deal with them. With that thought, he stabs his scabbard into the ground, using its skill to summons the spirit of Garnek. The spirit then dashes towards them, and in an instant, it slays the 2 minions from the Forbidden Heaven clan, leaving only the 2 high members of it. Xiaoring thoughts on how strong Jiwon turns out to be, and he just flees, leaving Janya to deal with Jiwon, Janmyeon and Janmeng, the 2 members that he cherish, and with the thoughts that is how it's going to end. Though, Jiwon says that there is a way for Janya to survive, and asks him where is the mare that they are hiding. Janya reveals that if he tells Jiwon about it, and a certain person knows, it betters off with Jiwon kills him right there. At that point, Janya will die either way, so he eats a spirit stone. Soul corruption spread rapidly in his body that slowly turns himself into a massive monster that towering the houses around him. The people called it the Dead, as it rampaging on the people it sees. With its claw, it stabs and absorbs the life force of the people. Inside of its consciousness, Janya sees the truth of the world he knew of as chaos. He expresses of what good dignity in a world like that would be, while also feeling relief from his fear of dying. Suddenly, he feels Jiwon's presence as he turns around saying how sneaky Jiwon is. That surprises him, leaving him wondering with how can a human exist in that world. While Jiwon is wondering himself with how can he can't figure Janya out with question. Well, it doesn't really matter for him, and with a single stab, he jumps toward the dead. Using a slight stab he beheaded the monster. That's quite disappointing for Jiwon, as he needs a person from the bar that knows where the mare is, then he goes back to Mino. A moment later, they manage to evacuate Mino and Carlton from the harmful black cloud. But, even though Carlton looks alright, it cannot be said the same with Mino, as the soul corruption spreading through her quite fast. Carlton orders his men to alert the inner fortress while Mino asks Jiwon to kill her while she is still sane. Right now, Jiwon knows that Mino is a human, as he unable to use comprehend on her. He also wonders why would question waver when he uses it on her, and why would the dead collapse. But there's no need for emotions where he is heading, and decides to kill her then. Then, Claire holds him back, saying that it might not be too late yet, begging Jiwon to wait a little longer. Later that day, a camp is set, being used to hold the spreading of the soul corruption on Mino and Carlton. Meanwhile, the town is on high alert with the small dead that appeared within the fortress. The people scatter around, asking what had happened, as the alert tells them to evacuate immediately. A man with a blonde hair tries to ask a guard with where they are supposed to evacuate to. It turns out that he already become a dead. It immediately kills the man with its tentacle, while another small dead also coming in closer towards the people to consume their life force. From the rooftop of the houses, it can be seen a group of people running, and they jump behind the small dead that appear. In a flash, they slash the dead, saving the people from being consumed. With them also appears a high-level adapter that will defend the people. Meanwhile, Jiwon is waiting on Mino to get help, though he sees the world that called chaos as the graveyard of the people that died on the tower, and only awaits their turn to be the nutrient for the three of life, including Mino. Claire reveals that she knows people very well, and she knows that there's no one in chaos who have enough courage to go against the world and to go beyond, to a definition that is more correct. And she claims that she knows for sure that Jiwon is dangerous. Though Mino hopes that Jiwon won't leave that place, Claire wants him to leave, because people find hope when they look at Jiwon. And if he is there, people will fall into greater despair. but Mino says otherwise, as she hopes that Jiwon doesn't give up on that world. At this moment, Carlton's condition is getting worse, and James orders the guards to bring all of the medicine to stabilize Carlton, and the time left for both Mino and Carlton is closing up on them. In the end, they uses the horn from the horned beast, grinding it to powder and make Carlton drinks it. Even though it's unable to purify the soul corruption, they still hope that at least it will slow the corruption down. Jiwon comes to James, and he asks whether if Carlton becomes a dead, would there is no one to revert him back. That agitates James, saying that he shouldn't let Jiwon back then. Well, Jiwon ignores the captain as he slaps Carlton, trying to waking him up, saying that he got a question for Carlton. Though, Carlton is waking up, and the only thing he asks is for Jiwon to kill him. That kind of loyalty amazes Jiwon, thinking that if he had a few more people like Carlton back in the tower, he wouldn't spend 40 years in there. An alert notify them that the soul corruption is at 94%, and deadification is about to begin on Carlton. While at the same time, the high-level adapter arrives at the camp, called Jaehyr, the Demon Extermination Squad captain, a 5th stage adapter. He comes in, stating that he will get rid of Carlton, and Mino, that shocks the guard captain, James. As Jaehyr swings his sword, Jiwon holds it like it was a stick with his bare hand. He says that he won't let Jaehyr kill them, as he's still got a few questions for. Even though Jaehyr looks so calm, he is freaking out inside, with the fact that Jiwon is stopping his sword with only a bare hand. After that, he takes out a Garnarch's horn, and with his bare hand again, he crushes it to powder and makes the attendants to make them both drink it. It turns out that James is quite sentimental with his gate manager, expresses how relieved that the number on the measuring device have stopped changing. On the other hand, Mino wasn't that lucky, as her deadification is not stopping, instead it progressing quickly because of her stamina has declined too much. At this point, her soul corruption has risen above 95%, and they couldn't stop the progressing matter anymore. Jaehyr tries to come closer and he wants to kill Mino immediately, as Claire mentions that old geezer that could do dead slash, which Jiwon notices, where it's explained that the slash simply only cut away the corruption itself, while the squad takes her away. Jaehyr now expresses how he will not compromise on that, asking Jiwon to step aside. So, he takes his sword, intending to kill Mino himself, because she asked him to kill her earlier. From the back, Claire is screaming to stop what Jiwon is about to do, but Jiwon doesn't mind her and uses question on Mino. Streaks of light appear on Mino's chest that touched by the tip of the sword. That sent Jiwon into another world, that leaving him wonders with what had happened to the matter. Inside the space, he sees an old man expresses how sad he is looking at Mino's condition. As he turns around, he is surprised to see Jiwon, asking who he is, to be able to enter his world. Looking at the old man, Jiwon uses question, but it wasn't working on him. In the end, he thoughts that the old man is the origin of Mino's soul corruption, and starts dashing forward while the old man also seems to think the same. The old man is able to stop the slight stab and Jiwon is able to stop the old man's dead slash. A moment later, the image is breaking apart, as both Jiwon and the old man are going out into the world. Jaehyr knew the old man, asking what he was doing there, as the old man is mad, shouting how dare Jiwon do that to his world, asking who he is and even manages to break the old man's sword. Now, it is revealed that he is Chunghyo, the Despair Divine Physician. Jaehyr asks again why would Chunghyo is there instead of helping the Fortress Master, which he claims that a beautiful woman is about to die, and who cares if he is with the Fortress Master or not. Chunghyo is mad at Jiwon. Because of him, the dead slash that he performed to slay the corruption was completely disrupted, and the dead slash can only be used with the sword made of a trihorn or higher. That's when he realizes that Jiwon possesses a scabbard made of the Garnach's horn and starts to swarms around him, asking him to borrow it to perform the dead slash. That surprises Chunghyo with the fact that Jiwon is willing to lend the sword to someone he met for the first time. So he assumes that Jiwon is confident in his own abilities. But that's not important right now, as he goes into his world again, feeling excited to see what the sword is capable of. In that instant, Jiwon is also entering the world that the old man draws, as he wondering whether that is an illusionary technique or probably something similar to when Jiwon uses question. Chunghyo dashes forward, while Jiwon realizes that is the world that the old man sees. After all of that tension, the old man stumbles, as he blames the darn Fortress Master, resulting in the old man's low spirit power. Now, the world that he draws is collapsing, and Mino's picture that he draws is dissipating. So he apologizes, and Jiwon takes up his sword, trying to perform the technique. The old man is angry with the thoughts of how reckless Jiwon is. Even he remembers how Claire says the same thing. So Jiwon tells them to shut up, as the world that the old man's drew becomes Jiwon's, and he expresses how it was the first time that he picked up his sword, wielding it to save the life of another person. That surprised the old man, and Jiwon starts drawing Mino that he knew of. She is someone who's very playful and stubborn. She is a weak-hearted person despite being an assassin. Someone who doesn't betray others, yet something seems to be missing. Lastly, someone who trusts others. As the world dissipating, Mino thanks him for remembering all the good things about her, as she smiles brightly towards the person that she has love and hate relationship with. Jaehyur, who cannot see the world that they draw, notices that the deadification is stopping, leaving him speechless. The old man commends Jiwon, and for now, he knows that Jiwon look less narrow-minded, and he calls the technique Jiwon performs as dead stab. Even though the old man hates to admit it, he reveals that Jiwon is able to perform the technique to cut away the soul corruption. Chunghyo explained that his dead slash is not a skill, so that's why no one in Chaos able to learn it. He assumes that Jiwon is a being that more like the divine physician, which is an awakened. It is then explained that an awakened existence that lie outside of the standard and the system's rule. They are an extreme minority among humans who obtain an extreme strength miraculously after rejecting the system's adaptation. People who possess the strength to totally overthrow the composition of powers that belong to chaos. Even in all of the almighty land, there are only a small number of known awakened. That's when Jaehyur feels excited with the thoughts that if someone able to perform a technique to cut away the soul corruption to save the fortress master, while at the same time, another group of the fortress come in, saying that he has gotten permission from the inner fortress fort, telling people to step aside. He was the Dark Shadow Squad Captain, a Stage 5 adapter. The Dark Shadow Squad Captain pays respects to the emissary of the Emerald Bug, Jiwon, and asks him to follow the captain into the inner fortress. A few moments later at the fortress, Jiwon finally meet with Chiver, the person who in charge with the internal matters of the Gorgon fortress. Jiwon then reveals that he is not the emissary of the Emerald Bug, which surprised the Shadow Squad captain, though he tells them that he killed the emissary of the Emerald Bug and picked the Spirit Stone up from them. That's agitate the others, but Chiver tells them to calm down, and asks Jiwon about what happened after he entered Chaos in detail.